12 years, they found
Well, it's final now. The governor of Karnataka has invited B.S. Yeddyurappa to form the next government, has also asked him to choose at what time and place he would like to be sworn in. We have the letter of the Karnataka governor right over here, which has been sent to Mr. B.S. Yeddyurappa. I'll just read out some bits from him, where he says, I invite you to form the government and be sworn in as the Chief Minister of Karnataka. You may kindly indicate the date, time and the place for scheduling the swearing-in ceremony. What will also perhaps give a succor to the BJP and to Mr. B.S. Yeddyurappa is that he has been given 15 days from the swearing-in to seek a vote of confidence on the floor of the House. This is important considering he's got this letter from the governor at a time when he has 104 MLAs in a House which requires at least 113 as a majority to form the government. I'm joined now by Krishna Prasad, political analyst, as well as Alok Prasanna Kumar of the Vidhi Center for more on the story as it unfolds. Alok, I'll come to you first. It's clear now that the governor has made his choice. He may have had several options to choose from. He's chosen to go with B.S. Yeddyurappa. But what about the point that he's given him 15 days to prove his majority?
That's ridiculous. I would understand 15 days if there was a situation, there is one large party, nobody else is able to form a coalition, and maybe there is some space for negotiation. But when you have had two other parties saying we are the largest group, this 15 days is ridiculous. I think that is just an act of bad faith on part of the governor. And I hope and here there is justified reason to believe that the Supreme Court should follow the Goa example. In the Goa example, the Supreme Court said, we're giving you 2 days. We request the governor to call the House in 2 days. And with only one item on the agenda, which is to prove the majority. I think the Supreme Court here should instantly step in to say 15 days is clearly an act of bad faith. There is no reason to say, because when you already have two parties. Now, I can understand both parties have equal claims. I mean, I say the BJP and the Congress and JDS have equal claims. I understand the governor has chosen one over the other. Per se, not illegal, but I think this 15 days is an act of bad faith. Because that, when you clearly know that there is another party that is willing to step in and this is giving the BJP government a chance to say, you find a way to break that alliance. I think that is an act of bad faith, and I think the Supreme Court should step in to say, we're giving you 2 days.
Well, it's very likely that the Congress party will and the JDS will move the apex court. In fact, we can expect an announcement of that anytime soon. But let me go to Krishna Prasad. What does that 15-day breather actually mean in terms of what we will see happening? We spoke to Veerappa Moily earlier this evening, and he claims they have 119 MLAs. So they are comfortably placed in terms of the numbers. 15 days means that the BJP has enough time to woo people over to their side?
Well, I mean, it just amounts to that. The governor has officially kind of confirmed that the BJP is lacking in numbers, and by giving them 15 days to stitch up that majority, he's more or less confirmed every rumor that has been floating around for the last 48 hours, that the governor's office is compromised, that the governor, as a former Gujarat finance minister, is somewhat beholden to the central government, and that he's not playing by the book in examining the evidence before him. So I think he's more or less confirmed all of those. And also the fact that in a very surreptitious manner, in a very subterfugious manner, the governor's communique seems to have reached the chief minister, the potential chief minister earlier, and the BJP put out a tweet which is then deleted. It tells you that all of this is really a command performance, and frankly, it brings no glory to the office of the governor, which has, frankly, after that Goa judgment, very little leeway in terms of all these things. But 15 days, frankly, is quite shocking. Usually the norm is about a week. In the case of Uttarakhand, the governor gave a week, but the BJP was on such weak footing in Uttarakhand. It actually wanted the vote of confidence to be advanced from 7 days to 2 days. So it tells you that the BJP is essentially using every trick in the book and many outside to come into power, to stay in power, and to kind of expand its imprint.
Okay, I want to come to Alok on what we're going to see in court, because clearly this is where this entire case is going to land up. The Congress is going to come in and speak of the Goa judgment and what happened after the elections in Goa, where the Congress was the single largest party, yet the governor invited the post-poll coalition. They're going to cite that example. Will this point come into play that the governor, who is a constitutional figure, has effectively given B.S. Yeddyurappa 15 days to stitch up numbers which he does not clearly have? 104 MLAs have signed in the petition. Second part, does the governor need to explain why he has rejected the other letter he received at 5 o'clock this evening, which said that they have 117 MLAs and offered to parade those MLAs before him? He rejected that option. Does he need to explain why?
No, not really, because to answer the second question first, he doesn't need to, because the governor doesn't have to explain in court. Constitutionally, the governor doesn't have to explain his actions in court. That is part of the Constitution itself, Article 361. Governor has immunity from being dragged to court to say, explain your action. Leaving that aside.
For a second, Alok, because Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad is speaking. Let's cut across and hear what he's saying.
उड़ाने का रहा है, वो आज देश के संविधान की मर्यादा बता रही है। जिस कांग्रेस पार्टी ने देश में सबसे अधिक राष्ट्रपति शासन लगाया और लोकतंत्र को पैसे और अमर्यादित आचरण से कमजोर किया, आज वो हमें मर्यादा की दुहाई देने की कोशिश कर रही है। कांग्रेस पार्टी के नेताओं को आज मैं एक बात बताना चाहता हूं, थोड़ा अपनी स्मृति को साफ करें। 6 दिसंबर 92 की अयोध्या की घटना के बाद उत्तर प्रदेश तो अलग, उनकी कांग्रेस सरकार ने हमारी राजस्थान की सरकार, मध्य प्रदेश की सरकार, दिल्ली की सरकार को डिसमिस किया था, याद होगा आपको, और राष्ट्रपति शासन लगाया था। जिन सरकारों का कोई मतलब नहीं था, जहां मौका मिला भाजपा की इतनी सरकारों को डिसमिस किया था। और जो आज लोकतांत्रिक मर्यादा की बात कर रही है कांग्रेस पार्टी, तो बहुत विनम्रता से कांग्रेस पार्टी को एक स्मृति और मैं ताजा करना चाहता हूं कि कांग्रेस पार्टी के प्रधानमंत्री भी बहुमत को अमर्यादित, अलोकतांत्रिक और भ्रष्टाचार के कारण अल्पमत को बहुमत बनाने में ट्रायल भी फेस कर चुके हैं। आप समझ रहे हैं मैं क्या बता रहा हूं? इसलिए कृपया करके कांग्रेस पार्टी हमें ना संविधान की मर्यादा सिखाए, न संविधान और लोकतंत्र के संस्कार बताए। इसकी चर्चा मैं पहले भी कर चुका हूं कि किस प्रकार से कांग्रेस पार्टी ने आपातकाल लगाया, न्यायपालिका को सुपरसीड किया और एक कमिटेड न्यायपालिका की बात की है। यह रिकॉर्ड पर है, पार्लियामेंट के रिकॉर्ड पर। यह बात मुझे इसलिए कहनी पड़ रही है भाजपा की ओर से कि आज लोकतंत्र की दुहाई भाजपा को बताई जा रही है, तो कृपया करके कांग्रेस पार्टी हमें नसीहत न दे। यह बात मैं बहुत विनम्रता से कहना चाहता हूं। अब जहां तक आज के विषय का सवाल है, थोड़ा मैं आप लोग के माध्यम से सुप्रीम कोर्ट के कुछ फैसले क्या हैं और राज्यपाल के अधिकार क्या हैं, इसके बारे में बताना चाहता हूं। बार बार बम्बई जजमेंट की बात की जा रही है और मैं अपने पत्रकार मित्रों से बहुत विनम्रता से आग्रह करूंगा कि देश के सामने इसकी सच्चाई जानी चाहिए। बम्बई जजमेंट में मूल विषय यह था कि अगर कोई मुख्यमंत्री अपना बहुमत खो देता है तो उसके बहुमत की परख कहां होगी, और क्या राज्यपाल बिना सदन के पटल पर उसके बहुमत का निर्णय किए राष्ट्रपति शासन की अनुशंसा कर सकते हैं? सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा नहीं, अगर किसी मुख्यमंत्री का बहुमत खत्म हो गया तो संसद का पटल स्थान है जहां पर उसके बहुमत का फैसला होगा, उसके बाहर नहीं। The court was very clear that the platform of the Vidhan Sabha is the only forum where the majority is to be tested. लेकिन सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने एक और बहुत महत्वपूर्ण बात कही है जो कांग्रेस के लोग नहीं बता रहे हैं, तो आज हम उसको बताना चाहते हैं। मैं बम्बई जजमेंट के 1994 3 SCC पेज 1 का पैरा 396 पढ़ रहा हूं, पैरा 396, और मैं बहुत विनम्रता से अपने पत्रकार मित्रों से आग्रह करूंगा कि इसे देश को बताया जाए। मैं पैराग्राफ 396 पढ़ रहा हूं। We make it clear that what we have said above is confined to a situation where the incumbent chief minister is alleged to have lost the majority support or the confidence of the house. अब मैं सबसे महत्वपूर्ण 3 लाइन पढ़ रहा हूं। It is not relevant to a situation arising after a general election where the governor has to invite the leader of the party commanding majority in the house or the single largest party is to group to form the government. We need express no opinion regarding such a situation. तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने स्पष्ट कहा कि नए चुनाव के आधार पर जो उत्पन्न परिस्थिति होगी उसमें राज्यपाल किसे बुलाएगा, सिंगल लार्जेस्ट पार्टी को या नहीं, इस पर हम कोई विचार नहीं देते हैं। तो कल से जो मुंबई के निर्णय का राग गाया जा रहा है, तो मुझे लगा कि यह क्लैरिफिकेशन देना बहुत जरूरी है। अब हम दूसरी बात कहना चाहते हैं कि गवर्नर इस स्थिति में कैसे काम करे। इसमें 2 कमीशन की अनुशंसाएं हैं, एक है सरकारिया कमीशन और दूसरा है पुंछी कमीशन। सरकारिया कमीशन ने क्या कहा, पहले आपको हम वो पढ़ना चाहते हैं, और कोर्ट ने इसके बारे में क्या कहा ये हम कहना चाहते हैं। अभी मैं सरकारिया कमीशन पढ़ रहा हूं आपके सामने।
Well, Ravi Shankar Prasad there quoting the Sarkaria Commission and the Punchi Commission. Manish Tiwari is joining us now on the phone line, senior Congress leader, former union minister. Is this going to the courts, Mr. Tiwari?
Well, the manner in which this entire episode has played itself out is bizarre and absolutely extraordinary, for the lack of a better word. Till now, you do not have an official communique which has been put out by the Raj Bhavan, either confirming or denying that Mr. Yeddyurappa has been invited to form the government. All you have is a purported letter ostensibly sent by the Raj Bhavan to Mr. Yeddyurappa, allegedly put out by some BJP spokesperson, who then confirms that he is the author of this dissemination. This is not the manner in which constitutional officers are supposed to discharge their responsibilities.
Okay. What we are going by, Mr. Tiwari, to ask you this question is a letter put out by a news agency, ANI, which says that he has been invited and has given him 15 days. I want your comment on the 15 days bit. Would that give maybe sufficient time to Mr. Yeddyurappa to cobble together the numbers? Are you worried about that?
The difficulty is that the source of ANI's information is this BJP spokesperson. If the Raj Bhavan would have officially put out something, I'm sure they have a Twitter handle. They must be having a press secretary. Bloomberg Quint would have also received it at the same time as ANI would have. So ANI is also putting out source-based information, unfortunately. And therefore, for us to react to something which is not even in the public space, the least that you can say, or the maximum that you can say, is that this is a highly irregular subversion of all canons of constitutionalism.
Mr. Tiwari, are you hoping, or is the JDS Congress Combine now requesting the governor for clarity? Because from what you're telling me, I'm getting a sense that clearly your teams must be trying to get that first-hand information. Are you still hoping that there is a contrary decision which is coming from the governor?
Well, in the sense that if the governor has arrived at a decision, right or wrong, the governor in his wisdom may think that he's arrived at the appropriate decision. We may think that the decision is illegal, but at least it needs to be communicated. So all you have is apparently some writer who ostensibly traveled from Raj Bhavan to Mr. Yeddyurappa's residence, handed over a purported letter which invites him for the swearing in at 9 a.m. in the morning, incidentally before the courts open, and you have a BJP spokesperson putting or disseminating it in the public space. Is this the manner in which a constitutional officer should function? If this is not subversion of the Constitution, of the letter and spirit of the Constitution, then what else is this? Why can't the Raj Bhavan put it out fair and square, whatever is the decision that they have arrived at?
You know, I have a tweet from Mr. Chidambaram as well, saying, and he says the governor invites Mr. Yeddyurappa to manufacture a majority in 15 days. Governor gives Mr. Yeddyurappa 15 days to convert the number 104 into 111. I come back to my first question. If this is indeed the case, would the Congress now approach the apex court?
Well, if wishes were horses and wise men could ride them, Mr. Chidambaram obviously is also reacting to information which is swirling around in the public space. But to approach a court of law, you require a document which comes from an authentic source. You cannot rely upon a document whose source is the spokesperson of the BJP, or for that matter, a source-based information being put out by a news agency, howsoever reputable it may be. You don't go to the court on the basis of conjecture.
Okay, I take your points. I will then ask you to react to the points that Ravi Shankar Prasad has raised in his press conference, where he has quoted 3 factors which, in his view, have pushed the governor to make a decision which is correct, which at this point, as per their claim, is that he's invited Mr. B.S. Yeddyurappa. He quotes the Sarkaria Commission, the Punchi Commission, as well as the Bomai case. What would be your response to that? Because all 3 say that the single largest party should have first go at forming government.
Well, unfortunately, the law minister has a very limited understanding of the law. You know, having said that, the fact remains that neither the Bomai judgment nor Rameshwar Prasad, which are the 2 authoritative pronouncements of the constitutional bench or respective constitutional benches on this issue, have affirmed the Sarkaria Commission guidelines. So therefore, the Sarkaria Commission recommendations or the Punchi Commission recommendations are recommendations at best which a governor needs to possibly keep in mind. They do not have the force of law. The only thing which has the force of law, which binds the governor under Article 141 of the Constitution of India, is the fact that he has to exercise his discretion in a manner which circumscribes or limits horse trading to the least. And if at all the governor has gone down the route which that news report which you are quoting seems to suggest, I am afraid the governor seems to have thrown the doors and windows open to horse trading.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Manish Tiwari, for speaking with us here. Mr. Tiwari there still holding out, saying that he is expecting an official confirmation from Raj Bhavan. He's also raised questions on the manner in which this information has been disseminated. And I want to go back to Alok Prasanna and Krishna Prasad, who have been with us. And that really has been the strange part of this entire story. From earlier this evening, there have been tweets from the BJP handle. Then those were taken off. Official broadcaster, national broadcaster Doordarshan put out the news that the governor has invited B.S. Yeddyurappa. They took off that news sticker as well. So there has been a swirl of confusion really on what has been done. Now finally we have reports that the letter has been sent to Mr. Yeddyurappa's home. News agency ANI has put out this letter which we have with us right now. Mr. Prasanna, I want to understand from you, what is the actual process of the governor letting people know of his decision?
Yeah, see, there's nothing specific there, right? Now, the thing is that he has to obviously invite someone to form the government. So he sent it out. Now, this is, at best, this is like a faux pas, I would think. But the point is, given the nature of the decision itself, one would attribute bad faith to it. If it was a decision taken in good faith, why not communicate it to the public? There are a horde of reporters standing outside Raj Bhavan. They've been holding up traffic for 2 days now. Why not just put out a press release saying that governor has sent this letter to Mr. B.S. Yeddyurappa? This is for everyone's information. And why this surreptitiousness when some Twitter handle has to put out? I mean, I'm not going to put too much weight on it, but tomorrow, if somebody wants to allege bad faith on the part of the governor, here is the perfect set of facts to do that. But be that as it may, assume it is true for the moment. I have a problem more with the 15 days given. I think that is the bigger act of bad faith. How they send it on another, this is like minor procedural issue. It may be a faux pas, I don't care. But the bigger issue is
it also may be the Congress were hoping and waiting it out, hoping that there is a different kind of decision. That seems very unlikely at this point. Maybe they'll keep hoping even while Mr. B.S. Yeddyurappa is waiting to take oath tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. But I just want to go to Mr. Sheshadri Chari, very senior leader of the Bharatiya Janata Party, on the phone line. Sir, 15 days, even if you could argue that the governor, in his wisdom, has chosen to invite Mr. B.S. Yeddyurappa as the leader of the single largest party to form the next government, what justifies giving him over 2 weeks to show the numbers?
No, but see, it is the prerogative of the governor. There is no strict rule and regulation as far as these days are concerned. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was given 13 days. And there have been cases where 1 week was given. And in this case, he has given 15 days because all the 222 MLAs who have been elected will have to take oath of office and they have to be officially inducted as MLAs. See, now they are only elected representatives. They are not members of the House. So they will have to take oath as members of the House. So this procedure itself is going to take 4 or 5 days. And after this procedure takes place, then so many rules, regulations, so many issues are there. So I think that there is nothing wrong in giving this kind of a time
in a situation where Mr. H.D. Kumaraswamy today claims that crores have been offered to MLAs, they have been kept secluded in a resort. Is this not opening up the doors for horse trading? It really is that part of the communication that worries people. I'm very sorry
to interrupt you. Mr. Kumaraswamy has no business to claim that 100 crores have been offered. If he has any guts and if he is prone to speaking truth at least once in his lifetime, nobody stops him from going to either the President of India, he can go to the governor, he can give a letter to the governor, he can go to Supreme Court, he can go to the police, he can go to CBI. But he has no business to make this tall claim in a press conference. And this is typically absolutely shameless way of handling politics. He has no business to do this, A. B, if he says that BJP is buying my MLAs, does it mean his MLAs are for sale? If he is going to have 10 or 15 MLAs for sale, then we should be ashamed of his party. It is better to run a Kirana shop rather than run a political party like this.
Okay, those are strong words. Shameless. Those are strong words, and I think everyone will agree that MLAs should not be for sale. In that case, Mr. Chari, in the next 15 days or 15 days following the 17th of May, how is the BJP expecting to make good its numbers and prove a majority on the floor of the House? You are 9 short today. What is going to happen in the next 15 days?
You leave it to the Chief Minister. You leave it to the party, the Karnataka state BJP. They know how to do it and they will do it.
But sir, you will have to elaborate on that. When you say leave it to the Chief Minister, what does that mean? How will he persuade these MLAs to turn to his side or abstain?
No, you want me to say the strategy on in public, and I am not the person who is working out the strategy.
Sir,
you go and ask him.
I agree, sir, but it is just mere common sense. If someone has stood, say, from a JDS ticket, they have won, why should they hop over to the BJP side? If you're saying that it's not a Kirana shop, no one is for sale, they shouldn't be for sale, what would be their reason to join Mr. B.S. Yeddyurappa's party at this point?
No, I'm not saying they are going to join the Yeddyurappa party at this time. They can do so many things.
Like, sir?
So that is not an issue. That is not an issue that we are discussing now. I am not here to discuss all those things. I don't know the strategy.
Okay.
In any case, there are two possibilities. One, he is able to prove his majority. Two, he is not able to prove his majority. In which case, you can say that the governor's decision was wrong, and then he calls the Congress and JDS to form a government. Simple.
All right.
Why should you preempt?
Well, another thing that we can perhaps preempt and say with fair amount of confidence is that the other side is going to take this to court. Are we going to see now a protracted legal battle over this matter?
Perfectly all right. They are free to take it to the court, and they should take it. If they think they have been wrong, they can take it to the court.
Okay. Thank you so much.
To prevent it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sheshadri Chari, for speaking with us, senior BJP leader over there, explaining how he thinks that the 15-day period given to Mr. B.S. Yeddyurappa to form his government or to prove his majority on the floor of the House is very fair. Let me go across to Krishna Prasad and Alok Prasanna Kumar for quick comments. Krishna Prasad, what kind of a swearing in will we see then tomorrow? Will that maybe give away on why there is confidence on the numbers? Would they reveal who they've managed to get over to their side? Or will we see a situation where they persuade certain MLAs to just abstain on D-Day?
If I may please be permitted to make a few points.
Yes,
I think, if you are looking for a nice full form for BJP, a new full form for BJP, you could just say it's the Brazen Janata Party. Because, if you look at Ravi Shankar Prasad's explanations, if you look at various other explanations coming in, it just seems to be that the BJP thinks that it can bulldoze and brazen its way through every crisis that it imposes on this country. One. Two, this issue of 15 days, I think we need to look at it from the context of Gujarat. While Karnataka is now home to resort politics, we should not forget that Gujarat itself has a fantastic history of resort politics, which took place towards the end of the 1990s when Shankar Singh Waghela was chief minister. So there is some experience with which 15 days has perhaps been offered. Three, your question as to where these numbers will come from, I think, as Mr. Sheshadri Chari rightly said, there are very many ways of generating these numbers. The BJP can actually get members of the newly elected assembly to absent themselves. Some MLAs can fall sick dramatically. And so therefore the halfway mark for proving a majority gets lowered. So all those possibilities are there. But I think at the end of the day, the 15-day issue is a tricky one. It seems to be as if the governor has given 1 day each for each MLA to be, wooed and bought over or wooed over. So it seems like it's an average that the governor seems to have worked out. It's an unfair thing to say, but one must say that 15 days is a little too much. But at the end of the day, the issue is a very simple one of political morality versus political technicality. And I think morality has taken a backseat today over technicality, and as Alok Prasanna himself has tweeted yesterday, the Bommai judgment is very clear on some of these issues, which is that the testing of the majority is only in the case of an elected government which loses majority, not in the case of a government which is getting into power. So I think political morality has taken a bit of a backseat. It's become extremely elastic. It changes from state to state depending on the situation of the BJP. But above all, the BJP seems to be able to brazen its way through every situation by blaming it on the Congress. Clearly, the BJP, which starts with the premise of being a party with a difference, does not seem to want to practice it anymore. And what you see in its quest to win every state and every election and to make this country a Congress-Mukt Bharat, it seems to be able to, do these things. But I think at the end of the day, the last and most troubling thing, forget 15 days, forget, inviting the single largest party. I think the subterfugeous way in the manner in which this whole thing has been communicated reflects very poorly on the office of the governor. I make no bones about it. It's not a faux pas. I think it's deliberate to do all this in the middle of the night. I think it's deliberate to ensure that the swearing in happens before court opens tomorrow morning. I think it's quite deliberate, and I think it's really sad the way this whole thing is
there is the Congress spokesperson Randeep Singh Surjewala has said that the government which will be sworn tomorrow will be immoral and illegal. They will undoubtedly go to court and challenge it. I just want to wrap up with one comment from Alok Prasanna Kumar on everything that we've seen this evening. We've seen confusion and lack of clarity on the decision the governor has made. We've seen accusations and counter accusations, and we've seen a rich 15 days given to a leader who has 104 MLAs, he's 9 short. No clarity from the BJP on what miracle is going to happen in the next 15 days. What do you make of this and what it is really doing to the credibility of our institutions?
What I make of this is that the credibility of our institutions has been, under attack for a while now. I don't want to make a party-specific argument. But, I think Mr. Arun Shourie said it best. The BJP is nothing but a Congress plus cow. And from what Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad's press conference seems to say, that they're proud of the fact that they're Congress plus cow. He seemed to say Congress did all of this and we are doing it with even greater pride. So, okay, at the end of the day, the institutions are only as strong as the underlying political movement for, underlying political support for the independent credibility of these institutions. And the fact is, there is a common consensus we don't want credible institutions. I'm sure if the roles were reversed, we would have heard very different arguments either way. And as Krishna Prasad put it out rightly, yes, this is the brazen Janata Party. They're going to try and brazen this out. They don't care what the credibility of the institutions is at the end of the day. But it reflects, and yes, you're absolutely right. It does reflect very poorly. And it's a sort of vague common consensus among parties that we don't really care about the credibility of institutions.
This is going to, if this does land in the Supreme Court, eventually we'll have to see where the story goes from there. As of now, it seems clear that B.S. Yeddyurappa will take oath at 9 a.m. tomorrow. He has 15 full days to prove his majority on the floor of the House. Perhaps the resorts of Karnataka will be fully booked for the next 2 weeks at least. It will be now a struggle between the Congress JDS on one side and the BJP on the other side to keep their flock together. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us on The Conversation this evening.